I honestly think most photographers spend money wrong on their first lens. Lenses like these are normally super expensive, but this one only costs a fraction of a price and it basically can do even more than the more expensive ones. I would never ever buy a lens like this. If you recently started out in photography, you got your first camera, chances are that you got a kit lens with it. Maybe it does look something like this, an 18 to 55mm for example, maybe an 18 to 45. And honestly, those lenses, they get way more hate than they deserve, I feel like. In the beginning they are great, you can learn so much with them and you can do so much with them. While this kit lens that I have here is really old and not modern at all, modern kit lenses, they are quite good. They have pretty good image quality, really sharp, good autofocus systems. So before we start, I do not think that you need to run to the next camera store tomorrow and buy a lens right away. In fact, I think it is a great idea to use the gear that you have until you really run into limitations and you need to upgrade to do the photography that you want to do. By the way, I think that's a great advice for every photographer, no matter if you got your first camera yesterday or 10 years ago. But eventually the moment will come. You want to have, for example, more background blur. You want to have more reach. Maybe you want to have better low light performance. Or maybe you just want to try out something completely different. So in this video, I want to show you lenses where I believe they make a lot of sense when you reach that point. All of them are quite affordable. Some of them you need to look on the used market, for example. And in the end, I will show you lenses that I would never ever recommend to anyone. So if you're interested in that, stick around. Let's dive right in. So we start with the most obvious one, a 50mm f1.8 lens. And if I had to guess, that would be the first lens recommendation most photographers ever hear. But there is a little bit more to it, so stick around for a second. So a 50mm f1.8 is usually lightweight, it is small, it is super affordable. Yet, generally speaking, it gives you great image quality. The fast aperture of 1.8 allows you to get really nice bokehs and blurry backgrounds. And it really is a step up above your kit lens. It is a great choice for portraits. It's a great choice for details. It's also a great choice for street photography, for example. And it performs pretty good in low light as well. For the money that you have to pay for lenses like this, that might be the best value for money lens that is out there. That being said, I do not think that a 50mm lens is automatically perfect for everyone. Depending on what you want to shoot, you might prefer, for example, a 35mm lens. That gives you a slightly wider field of view and that makes it a bit more versatile. You might also prefer a 85mm lens, which is a little bit better suited for portraits, for example. So do not get hung up on this exact focal length, I feel like. The biggest point here is that a fast prime lens can be an amazing first lens choice. And nowadays there are also great third-party manufacturers, for example from East Asia. They used to have a little bit of a bad reputation, but honestly nowadays they are great. Manufacturers like, for example, Viltrox or Samyang, they offer you lenses, sometimes even with an f1.4 aperture for the same price point, and they generally speaking have quite a good quality. So it's definitely worth checking them out. So one quick side note here before we go on. You will notice that most of the time I will talk about, for example, lens types or focal lengths and not specific brands. The reason for that is simple. I want this video to be useful for anybody, no matter if you shoot Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fujifilm, whatsoever. And honestly, finding the exact lens for your camera system is pretty straightforward. You just need a 10-second search on Google and you will get a ton of results there. So let's keep going on with lens number 2 now. I'm talking about a lens like this. This is a 24 to 105mm f4 lens. So if you are looking for a lens that can do almost anything, this might be the perfect choice. It has a significant improvement in image quality above the kit lenses that are out there, and it gives you a great and super useful and versatile focal range. I made a whole video about the 24 to 105mm lenses, so feel free to check that out as well. I've linked you that somewhere around here. It is a great choice for landscape. It's a great choice for portraits. It's a great choice for travel photography. It's an always-on lens. You can put it on in the morning and use it the whole day because the focal range is so versatile. So when we talk about this standard zoom lenses, most people immediately think of 24 to 70mm f2.8. And yes, these lenses are fantastic, but they are also super expensive most of the time. A 24 to 105mm f4 you can get for the fraction of the price, and it can basically do even more. Sure, the aperture is not as fast, but most of the time you really don't need it. Plus, you get more reach with this lens again. And the image quality of these lenses, it is excellent. It can definitely compete with the much more expensive f2.8s out there. That being said, if you really want to have the f2.8 aperture, there are again third-party manufacturers out there. For example, Tamron, they build a 28 to 75 millimeter, which is really close to the 24 to 70. And this one costs also only a fraction of the price. Again, you will not have the exact same image quality and the exact same focal range, but I still think it's a great deal. That brings us to the next category of lenses. I'm talking about macro lenses. Something that might surprise some people here because they are quite specific in its use case. At least this is what most people think. And yes, macro lenses, they give you access to subjects that would otherwise be impossible with other lenses to capture. Flowers, insects, details, textures, everything small that you can think of basically. You know, modern cameras and lenses, they always compete against the elephant in the room, smartphone photography. So most people want to create something, they want to capture something that would be otherwise impossible with a smartphone to do. And lenses like these are perfect examples for this. I know some smartphones, they have the capability of capturing macro photos, but not to an extent like dedicated lenses like these would be able to. It's almost like discovering a whole new world, which is super interesting. But here's the funny thing. Macro lenses, they are also incredibly sharp most of the time, and they are not just good for macro photography itself. For example, they are great for portraits because they come in a zoom range like, for example, 90 millimeters, 100, 105 millimeters, which is very well suited for portrait photography. And even if macro photography isn't something that you are obsessed with, it's always worth to take a closer look at them. By the way, if you enjoy watching this video, feel free to give it a like, maybe even a subscription to this channel. That would be amazing. Thank you so much for that. I also have a ton of other photography related videos over on my channel. Feel free to check them out as well. Thank you also for that. Let's go on now. Which brings us to a lens like this. This is a 70 to 200 millimeter lens, and for me at least, this lens changed the most in my photography lifestyle, so to speak. Because for example, me personally, I always enjoy shooting landscapes. And when you think about landscape photography, you always think of the super wide angled lenses or standard zoom lenses. But doing landscape photography with a 70 to 200 millimeter, it is something totally different, which is super enjoyable, and I never thought of this before getting a lens like this. Telephoto lenses let you compress scenes, and a 70 to 200 millimeter is super versatile because again, you can shoot landscapes with it. It's also great for events, for example. It's to some extent even usable for wildlife photography, and it's also great for travel photography, I feel like. Now, if you take a look at 70 to 200 millimeter lenses, you've probably seen the famous f2.8 model, and they are great. They are amazing piece of equipment. However, they are again super expensive. But there is a second category of 70 to 200 millimeter lenses, the f4 ones, like the one that I have here. They are not just lighter and smaller, which is again good, for example, for travel photography, but they are also way cheaper than the f2.8s. It's more or less the same as with the 24-105 I just talked about. The lenses that I talked about on this list, you can get them new. However, it's sometimes a great idea to look at the used market. I made again a whole video about this topic a few months back, so feel free to check that out as well if you want to know how to buy used gear, quote unquote, the right way. Back to the 70 to 200 millimeter. There are most of the time different versions of this lens, for example, older and newer ones. To look at the older ones might be also a good idea. Again, they are even cheaper, and most of the time they give you still incredibly good image quality, and I nearly can guarantee you that you will not see the difference between a $500 used 70 to 200 and a brand new $3,000 f2.8 in most circumstances. This brings us to the last section of this video, and this is not a lens recommendation, but lenses that I would never ever buy. When you start getting into photography, you sooner or later stumble across these super zoom lenses, like for example 18 to 300, 18 to 400, maybe even more zoom range in a single lens, and most of the time they are quite affordable as well. On paper that might sound amazing, one lens that does everything, but the problem is that every lens design like this, they have a lot of compromises. And the biggest compromise most of the time is the image quality there. Again, you have a variable aperture with lenses like this, like for example your kit lens most likely also have, which is not a no-go in itself, but again, if you want to really step up your photography game, if you want to have better image quality, then I would stay away from lenses like this. Now, are they usable? Yes, absolutely. And can you take good photos with them? It obviously depends, but I would generally say yes, because a good photo doesn't have to do anything with the technology that you have. But again, if you want to improve your photography and you want to get the best results possible, I would always suggest buying lenses that enable you exactly this and that gives you a step up above a kit lens. This brings us to the end of today's video. And obviously there isn't a single lens that is perfectly suited for everyone. The best lens always depends on what you enjoy shooting. But generally speaking, in the beginning, when you want to try out a lot, and again, trying out is a great idea. I got my first camera like 15 years ago and I'm still trying out new things all of the time because it's just super enjoyable. And it's basically the essence of this hobby, I feel like. But again, if you're currently using your kit lens and you really reach the point where you want to upgrade, these lenses, I believe, are a great choice to take a closer look at. Now, let me know in the comments down below. Do you have different opinions? Do you have different lenses that you can recommend if you want to get your first lens after the kit lens? Which one would you get if you could only get one lens? I'm genuinely interested in hearing that from you. For now, I wish you a great day and I wish you a great week, and I do hope that I see you in next week's video. See you then and goodbye.